Hello, everyone. Uh, Virgo, you have 3 days, maybe less, maybe more, but the energy is close, very close, and I need you to be ready for it. Not caught off guard, not scrambling. Ready? Welcome. Let's prepare you. Something is forming, not in the distant future, not someday. In the near term, in the specific short window of the days immediately ahead of you, something that has been building, pressure accumulating, energy gathering toward a moment of release, a moment of contact, a moment where something that has been internal for someone finally becomes external and reaches you through your phone, through a call, through a message, through some form of direct contact that arrives with a weight to it. That is immediately recognizable. Even before you fully process the content, this is real and it is coming. And I want to spend this time making sure you are in exactly the right state to receive it. Whew. Let me start by telling you what is happening on the other side, because there is a person right now who is in a particular kind of internal weather, the kind that precedes action, the kind that builds and builds until it can no longer be contained, until the only way forward is through. They have been thinking about reaching out to you for a while now, longer than you probably realize. This is not an impulsive decision forming. This is a deliberate one that has been slow cooked in the heat of everything they have been feeling and sitting with and turning over and reconsidering and returning to every single time. They keep returning to the idea of you. And in the next 3 days, that returning is going to become action. I want to say something about the weight of what they have been holding before I walk you through the days ahead, because I think understanding it will help you receive what is coming with compassion rather than guard, holding back from reaching out to someone you want to reach is one of the more quietly exhausting things a person can do. Every day that passes without sending the message has its own small cost. Every time the impulse rises and gets suppressed, takes something. This person has been paying that cost for a while, and the account is running low, which is why the timeline is now, not later, not when the timing is better. Now, because now is what remains. After everything else has been exhausted, what reaches you in the next 3 days is not an impulsive message. It is the residue of a long deliberation that has finally run out of reasons to wait, because I want you to be present for each of them, not just for the moment of contact, but for the build-up, because the build-up is where you prepare today, right now, in this moment. The first thing I need you to do is get grounded, not anxious, not excited to the point of instability. Grounded, clear, centered in who you are, in what you want, in what you deserve. Because the state you are in when this contact arrives will determine how you receive it, and how you receive it will determine everything that follows. A grounded person receives differently than an anxious one. A centered person responds differently than a reactive one. The version of you that answers this call or reads this message matters more than anything else right now. Let me tell you who the person reaching out is. Not their name, their energy, what they are carrying, what finally broke the silence. This is someone who has tried to move on, or to stay still, or to pretend that what they feel is less significant than it actually is. They have tried the reasonable approach, the practical approach, the this is fine and I am fine approach. And something in the last few days, something specific, has made that approach impossible. Maybe they saw something or heard something or had an experience that reminded them of you in a way that was specific enough, undeniable enough, that the pretending collapsed. And what was underneath the pretending was you, as vivid as ever, as present as ever, despite everything. And they cannot go another 3 days without saying something. Now I want to talk about the word shocking, because it is in the title, and I want to be honest with you about what it means. The shock may come from what they say, from the content of the message, something they admit, something they reveal, something they finally put into words that you did not know they had been thinking or feeling or carrying. Or the shock may come simply from the fact of contact itself, from the name on the screen, from the number calling, from the simple reality that this person, after everything, is reaching toward you again. Either way, your body will register it before your mind does. That particular jolt, that freeze of recognition, that moment where everything else in your life becomes very quiet and this becomes very loud, that moment is coming in the next 3 days. I want to prepare you for 2 things because they are both possible, and I want you to be ready for both. The first possibility is that what they reach out to say changes things, reopens something, shifts a dynamic that seemed settled into something more fluid, more possible, more alive with what it was or what it could be. If that is what arrives, receive it slowly, not with the urgency of someone who has been waiting, but with the patience of someone who knows their worth, who does not need to rush toward anything because they trust that what is right for them will not disappear if they take a breath first. The second possibility is that what they reach out to say is not an opening, but a closing, a final word, a resolution, something said because it needed to be said, even if what it says is not what you hoped. If that is what arrives, receive it with the same grace, because a clear ending is a gift, even when it is painful, It is infinitely better than the suspension of not knowing. And what closes one door always, without exception, creates space for another to open. But here is what I genuinely feel about this energy, about what is forming, about what is most likely moving toward you. This is not a closing. The energy of a closing feels different. It feels like release, like something exhaling, like loose ends finally finding their ends. This does not feel like that. This feels like pressure. The particular pressure of something that has been held too long, that is looking for release not through distance, but through expression, not through ending, but through finally saying what has been sitting unsaid for too long. Something is about to be said to you that changes the shape of something between you and this person in a way that opens rather than closes. I want to give you something practical now. For the next 3 days, something concrete to do rather than simply wait. First, stay present in your life. Do not spend the next 3 days with one eye on your phone, waiting, anticipating, jumping every time it lights up. That energy is not the energy you want to be in. When this arrives, live your life fully in these 3 days. Go do the things that make you feel most like yourself, most grounded, most clear, because the version of you that receives this message should be the most alive version, the most whole version, not the version that has been holding its breath. Second, decide in advance what your standard is, what you require, what you will and will not accept, not as a test or a strategy, but as a clarity, a knowing, so that when the contact arrives, you are not making decisions from surprise or emotion, but from something deeper, something already known. Third, trust yourself. When it arrives, your gut will tell you what it means before your mind has a chance to analyze it, before the doubt assembles its questions, before anyone else has an opinion about it. Your gut will know. Listen to that. First, always first. 3 days, maybe less. The message is forming. The call is building toward its moment. The person on the other end is gathering what they need to say, has been gathering it for longer than, and is almost ready. And you, after these words, after this preparation, are ready to. When the phone lights up, when the name appears, when the message arrives out of what looked like nowhere, remember this moment. Remember that you knew, that you were told, that you prepared, that you were ready, and then take a breath and receive it from exactly the person you are, which is more than enough for whatever is coming.